working to connect a region of over 600 cultural bridges between our lands.
Hello and welcome to ASEAN in Focus. We're coming to you live from Manila in Thailand. Hello, Esther. Thank you for joining me today.
Hi, Alma, and to all our viewers. I'm Esther Odanga from EBC Thailand Bureau, bringing you the news in the dynamic ASEAN region.
On today's headlines.
I believe that 2020...
ASEAN concluded its 38th and 39th summits and related summits on Thursday with commitments to support post-COVID recovery and regional community building.
Myanmar remains an integral part of the Southeast Asia's regional bloc. Member Brunei insisted Thursday, despite the coup-hit country boycotting annual talks in protest at the ban on its junta chief.
Malaysian Prime Minister Dato Sri Ismail Sabri bin Yaakob, in his keynote address at the panel, spoke about the digital transformation and the impact the pandemic has had on accelerating the push into agile and adaptive digital technologies during the pandemic.
And Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison sought understanding from ASEAN nations on the security pact known as AUKUS, where Australia will be the only country other than Britain to have access to U.S. technology to build nuclear-powered submarines, which could deploy in contested waters where Beijing is assertively exerting its claims.
And first in our news, ASEAN concluded its 38th and 39th summits and related summits on Thursday with commitments to support post-COVID recovery and regional community building. Addressing the closing ceremony, Haji Hassan al-Bolkiah, the Sultan of Brunei, which is the ASEAN chair for 2021, said that leaders of the 10-country bloc had productive discussions on the current state and future direction of the region, as well as considered ways to further enhance relationships with external partners. Take a look.
I believe that 2021 has been a challenging year for many of us, and we continue to address the impacts from COVID-19, especially with the emergence of new variants. Despite this, ASEAN has continued to make advancement through our collective efforts under the theme of We Care, We Prepare, We Prosper. We have adopted inclusive and cross-pillar strategies to further advance our community building efforts. We have also stepped up our efforts to respond to and recover from COVID-19, which includes the work of procure vaccine for our people. And we have also laid the foundations to welcome the future with confidence and resilience by adopting the consolidated strategy on the fourth industrial revolution for ASEAN. As ASEAN, community building will always be a work in progress. It is vital that we remain committed to upholding multilateralism and a strong regional architecture to enable meaningful progress for the generations to come. I hand over the chairmanship of ASEAN and the gravel to Prime Minister Hun Sen, who I wish much success. Thank you.
Second, Cambodia.
During the virtual India-ASEAN Summit, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi said ASEAN's unity and centrality have always been an important priority for India. Prime Minister Narendra Modi said on Thursday and announced that the year 2022 would be celebrated as the ASEAN-India Friendship Year to mark 30 years of their friendship. Let's listen in.
Our mutual cooperation, our mutual understanding in these times of COVID will continue to strengthen our relations in the future and will remain the basis of goodwill among our people. This special role of ASEAN is enshrined in India's Act East policy and in our security and growth for all in the region policy. The year 2022 will mark 30 years of our partnership. India too will be celebrating 75 years of its independence. I'm very happy that we will be celebrating this important milestone as the ASEAN-India Year of Friendship. India is also committed to further deepen our mutual relationship with the incoming chair, Cambodia, and our country coordinator, Singapore.
The Association of Southeast Asian Nations, or ASEAN, and Russia have agreed to establish mutual business missions according to the Comprehensive Plan of Action, or CPA, to implement the ASEAN and the Russia Strategic Partnership for 2021 to 2025, published on Thursday following the summit. According to the document, the partners are going to organize business missions between ASEAN member states and Russia with a view to establishing direct business contacts and exchanging information on trade and investment opportunities. At the same time, they plan to hold business summit dialogues, investment symposiums, including St. Petersburg International Economic Forum, the Eastern Economic Forum in the Vladivostok, and Inoprom International Industrial Fair, Yekaterinburg, and relevant business forums in ASEAN member states. Furthermore, Russia and ASEAN member states intend to facilitate dialogue between specialized agencies and business circles in order to stimulate the inflow of the foreign direct investment. In other news, Malaysian Prime Minister Dato Seri Ismail Sabri bin Yaakob, in his keynote address at the panel, spoke about the digital transformation and the impact of the pandemic had on accelerating the push into agile and adaptive digital technologies, the importance of inclusivity as the region emerges from the pandemic's shadow. He also spoke about the need to reshape our digital ecosystem in a way that ensures inclusive, sustainable, and resilient growth. Let's listen in.
A defining feature of the COVID-19 pandemic is digital transformation, of which has filled every aspect of our lives besides altering economic, social and structural domains. This pandemic has led to the rise of digital technologies by which have supported governments and businesses in adopting agile and adaptive responses. In this regards, almost all of the ASEAN countries have introduced digital tools for disseminating information, monitoring healthcare, and sustaining education continuance. The essential question, how do we harness these technologies for future preparation for disruptive transition? Thus, we need to reshape our digital ecosystem in a way that ensures inclusive, sustainable and resilient growth. By building inclusive digital infrastructure, it is imperative for every ASEAN state to foster a truly accessible and affordable digital infrastructure for all. In this way, Malaysia has taken efforts to improve the foundational infrastructure with the launching of Malaysian Digital Blueprint or My Digital initiative early this year in tandem with the Fourth Industrial Revolution or 4IR. Our aim is to transform the nation into a digitally enabled, technology-driven, high-income economy while enhancing digital infrastructure for seamless and extensive connectivity. This aspiration is currently being actualized by the National Digital Network or Jendela Action Plan with an allocation of approximately $6.7 billion. By promoting inclusive digital literacy. To this effect, Malaysia has emphasized on developing future-ready digital talents as one of the outlined strategies under our recently tabled 12 Malaysia Plan. Under the plan, continuous measures in upskilling and reskilling digital literacy will be undertaken in ensuring relevancy of workforce at all times. By boosting digital-ready micro, small and medium enterprise, as for this, Malaysia has intensified policy interventions of which specifically targeted to expand the breadth and depth of digitalization adoption by our MSMEs. This initiative is in accordance with the past global survey which had ascertained ASEAN in becoming a home of the largest number of digital platform companies. In 2016 alone, Asia's market capitalization has reached over $930 billion, whereas for Southeast Asia by $7 billion.
Staying in the ASEAN summit, Myanmar remains an integral part of Southeast Asia's regional bloc. Member Brunei insisted on Thursday, despite the coup-hit country boycotting annual talks in protest at a ban on its junta chief. The crisis in Myanmar, which is still in chaos following February's coup or takeover and subsequent deadly crackdown, dominated this week's virtual summit of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, or ASEAN. The bloc decided to exclude junta chief Min Aung Hlaing after his regime refused to allow ASEAN Special Envoy to meet ousted civilian leader Aung San Suu Kyi. And later, the President of Russia will also speak about the step-up cooperation between ASEAN and Russia. Take a look.
For this meeting, we have given Myanmar space while firmly upholding the principles enshrined in the ASEAN Charter, including that of non-interference. Only the people of Myanmar can fully resolve their own internal situation. Myanmar is an integral part of the ASEAN family, and their membership has not been questioned. ASEAN member states hope Myanmar will return to normalcy in accordance with the will of its people. ASEAN will always be there for Myanmar, and we have continued to offer our help through the implementation of the 5-point consensus.
I would like to especially highlight the positions of Russia and ASEAN member states on key global and regional issues are similar to a larger extent. What's most important is that we're all promoting an equal-footed and mutually beneficial cooperation in the vast Asia-Pacific. And today we have real capacities to galvanize cooperation between Russia and ASEAN, including on strengthening stability and security, post-epidemic rehabilitation of economies, encouraging trade, expansion of humanitarian contacts.
Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison sought understanding from ASEAN nations on the security pact known as AUKUS. Under the alliance christened with the acronym AUKUS, Australia will be the only country other than Britain to have access to U.S. technology to build nuclear-powered submarines, which could deploy in contested waters where Beijing is assertively exerting its claims. Morrison attempted to allay concerns that the AUKUS security partnership of Australia, Britain, and the United States could spark a nuclear arms race in the region. Let's take a look.
The United Kingdom and United States, as you know, recently announced an enhanced capability and technology sharing partnership, which is known as AUKUS. All three of us are ASEAN dialogue partners. And I want to address this up front because transparency and communication on this important initiative is important to Australia with our ASEAN friends. AUKUS adds to our network of partnerships that support regional stability and security. Australia remains deeply committed to international law and the rules-based order that has underpinned regional stability and prosperity on which all ASEAN members depend.
Meanwhile, President Duterte wants the newly formed Australia, United Kingdom, and United States, or acronym AUKUS, trilateral partnership to respect the authority of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, or ASEAN, when it comes to security matters of the regional bloc. During his virtual speech at the 9th ASEAN-US Summit last Tuesday, the president said he welcomes the commitment of AUKUS to help in the promotion of peace and stability in Southeast Asia. But he also said agreements should complement and not complicate the cooperation of nations in the region. Take a look.
The Philippines welcomes the U.S. assurance that ASEAN is at the center of its Indo-Pacific strategy. We acknowledge, as well as the U.S. commitment to work with ASEAN, especially on maritime security and domain awareness issues. Arrangements such as the AUKUS trilateral security partnership, however, add a new element to consider within the region. We take full account of the statements that AUKUS will promote peace and stability in our region and maintain support for ASEAN centrality. But one thing should be clear for all stakeholders: ASEAN's central role in the evolving regional security architecture must be strengthened, and that this or other arrangement must complement and not complicate our working methods of cooperation.
Now let's go over to Singapore, where new COVID-19 cases in the country breached the 5,000 mark for the first time. We have this update coming from Heather Pilar Clemente. Hi, Heather.
Hello, Esther. Singapore has reached the highest number of COVID-19 cases on Wednesday, when a total of 5,324 people tested positive, as reported by the Ministry of Health, or MOH. This is the first time that the city-state reached the 5,000 mark for COVID cases since the pandemic started last year. According to MOH, the infection numbers were unusually high because many COVID cases were detected by testing laboratories within a few hours on Wednesday afternoon. The MOH said it is investigating the unusual spike of cases within a relatively short period and would keep a careful eye on the trend over the following few days. It is worth noting that the cases are down to the 3,000 mark on the next day, with over 3,400 cases reported as of last night, and seeing the total number of deaths in Singapore to 364. Over the last 28 days, 98.7% of the infected individuals had no or mild symptoms. As of yesterday, Singapore is approaching 190,000 COVID-19 cases in total, with over 20,000 patients undergoing home recovery. Back to you, Esther.
Thank you so much, Heather, for your time. Keep the updates coming there from Singapore. You stay safe and stay healthy.
Likewise, Esther. Before I go, I would like to wish Brother Eduardo V. Manalo a happy birthday, and may the Lord God bless him on his special day. Reporting live from EBC Singapore, I'm Heather Pilar Clemente. We live in interesting times.
Meanwhile, long-term visit pass holders can now enter Malaysia without clearance. This will be from November 1st. And joining us live from Malaysia, where are you now? Alfred Balmes.
Hi, Alma. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Alfred. Go ahead.
In Malaysia, from November 1st, foreigner holding Malaysian long-term visit passes will be permitted to enter the country without going through immigration clearance via My Travel Pass, My Entry, as long as the pass is valid. Immigration Department Director Dato Khairul Jasami Daud said the matter was decided at the Special Committee Pandemic Management Meeting number 60 of 2021 Series 22 held on October 22. According to him, the long-term visit pass holders allowed to enter the country without having to apply for immigration clearance through MTP/My Entry are diplomat, exemption order, dependent, foreign maid, employment pass category 1, 2, 3, dependent foreign maid, resident pass talent, RPT, dependent foreign maid, professional visit pass, specialist, and professional visit pass. The permanent resident, spouse to PR, child to PR long-term pass, husband and wife, child to citizen, senior citizen pass, widow pass to citizen, student pass, dependent escort, Malaysia pass by my second home, dependent foreign maid, resident pass, temporary visit pass, foreign maid are also allowed the facility. Foreigners not under the above-mentioned categories would still need to apply via MTP, MY Entry for clearance to enter Malaysia. These include those who's on social visit pass and long-term visit pass holder with expired passes. The other categories needing clearance are employment pass, application category 1, 2, and 3, resident pass talent, dependent foreign maid, and professional visit pass, especially newly improved and short-term business travelers. Kaisi Saimi said the entry procedure upon arrival in Malaysia is still subject to the existing immigration rules, which are still forced, as well as the Health Ministry health screening and quarantine procedures. Back to you, Alma.
Thank you very much, Alfred. Where are you now? Can you please tell me where you are right now?
I'm here now in Minara, KL, the 360 atmosphere restaurant. So I feel a bit giddy because it's it's moving actually.
Mm-hmm. It's a 360-degree restaurant. And how do you know how high is it?
I really don't know the height because I think.
Okay. And you don't want to look down.
Yeah, I'm scared with the height actually.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Alfred. And tell us more updates. Give us more updates. Looking forward to more updates coming from Malaysia. Thank you very much. Stay safe.
Likewise, live reporting here from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. This is Alfred Balmes. We live in interesting times.
And the news continues here on ASEAN in Focus. Esther and I will be back right after this.
Makabuluhang talakayan.
Sapat na po ba yun? Papasok yung 30% sa indoor at 50% sa outdoor para to even break even? Ilan pong mga negosyo ang nagsara po dahil dito po sa pandemya?
Malalim na komentaryo.
Ngayon, sinasabi essential goods and services. Pero nakita naman po natin sa Dolomite Beach. At may time clock yung mga bata doon.
Umaapaw sa impormasyon.
Ano ba ngayon ang allotted budget per voter? Yung hindi daw bakunado po ng mga empleyado, hindi sila pinapasweldo. Oras!
Pero hindi rin nagpapahuli sa kakulitan.
Merong nag-file for the presidency. Hinimok daw siya ng mga alien at ang kanyang plataforma po ay palakasin ang Wi-Fi. At ito si Ali magde-demonstrate paano mag-swimming na may face mask.
Kaya, nood na kina Ali Soto at Pati Daza sa ASPN. Ano sa palagay nyo?
Kung kayo po ay may pinagdadaanan, daanan nyo lang. Huwag niyong tambayan.
Lunes hanggang Biyernes, alas 8 hanggang alas 10 ng umaga.
Oras, alas 9:26 na po ng umaga at nagbabalik po ang ASPN.
Mapapanood sa Net25 at mapapakinggan sa DZEC, Radyo Aguila at Eagle FM 95.5.
Welcome back to the program. Now, in Thailand, the government will launch the Thailand Pass system to fast-track procedures for foreign investors when the country reopens on Monday. We have more details from Veronica Carreño. Hi, Veronica.
Hello, Esther. Good afternoon, and to all of our viewers. The government is set to launch the Thailand Pass system on Monday to fast-track procedures for foreign visitors when the country reopens. Bangkok Governor Police General Aswin Kwanmoang said the capital is ready to welcome visitors from outside because all of the city's people have had their first doses of the COVID-19 vaccine, with 75% receiving a second dose. Thailand is preparing to reopen, according to government spokesman Thanakorn Wangbonkong Chana, with the Thailand Pass system to set replace certificates of entry and cut superfluous paperwork. The Department of Consular Affairs collaborated with the Digital Government Development Agency to create a new website-based system that allows Thai and foreign travelers to fill out travel and health information and upload documents before leaving. From Monday, foreign tourists and Thais who want to enter Thailand can apply for a Thailand Pass online at tp.consular.go.th. It should take 1 to 3 days of approval. Mr. Thanakorn explained that instant clearance would apply in circumstances when applicants' immunization documents can be validated instantly using a QR code provided by issuing country, provided the issuing country has provided a public key for Thai authorities to verify the document. Inspections will be carried out by the Department of Disease and Control in accordance with the Public Health Ministry's requirements. According to the spokeswoman, a mechanism has been put out in place to check safety and health administration or SHA plus accommodation bookings, as well as alternative quarantine or AQ systems. Travelers can download the Thailand Pass QR code to show the airline and screening personnel once they have gotten approval. According to Mr. Thanakorn, they will also need to produce COVID-19 test results from no later than 72 hours prior to their flight. They will not need to complete out the TM8 and TM6 forms when they arrive in Thailand. Instead, they will need to download the Morshana application. Exempted from quarantine, visitors from 45 countries and Hong Kong Special Administrative Region, as well as test and go tourists, must stay one night in a SHA Plus or AQ hotel to receive their RT-PCR test and wait for the results, according to the spokesman. Those who travel later, according to Mr. Thanakorn, can amend part of their information. They won't have to reapply because the system will save the information for a year after their last vaccination date. Those who have already obtained a COE can continue to use it and demand reimbursements from the hotels where they enrolled, according to the spokeswoman. Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha will lead a meeting of the Center for COVID-19 Situation Administration to discuss the upcoming reopening. When asked if Bangkok may be subjected to another lockdown in the event of a surge, Police General Aswin said an evaluation would be done every 7 days. He voiced confidence in the vaccination campaign, stating that the remaining 25% of the city's residents would receive their second vaccinations in the following days. Bangkok has emergency response procedures in place as well as measures to handle visits to significant sites like Grand Palace, the Emerald Buddha Temple, and Wat Po, he said. Visitors must book hotels ahead of time. They will be tested for COVID-19 and will have to wait a night for the results. They will be allowed to travel if the results are negative. Visitors who do not make hotel reservations will be denied entry. This update is from Bangkok Post. Back to you, Esther.
Thank you so much, Veronica, for all that update. You stay safe there in Bangkok.
Thank you. And before I go, I would like to greet the Executive Minister of the Church of Christ and advance happy birthday. Happy weekend to all. Reporting live from Thailand, I am Veronica Carino, and we live in interesting times.
Thank you, Veronica. Meanwhile, the Health Protection Agency in the Maldives, the island nation of Maldives, said that 1,577 people there have already received their COVID vaccine booster shots. To tell us more, Steffi Diwan is joining us live from the beautiful island of Maldives. Hello, Steffi. How are you?
Hi, Alma. I'm good. Yes, that is correct. Health Protection Agency, or HPA, states that 1,577 people in Maldives have received COVID-19 vaccine booster shots. Maldives began administering Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine booster shots on October 3. The booster shots are currently available to individuals above the age of 60 years and immunocompromised individuals. This includes individuals who have undergone organ transplant, individuals on immunosuppressants, individuals on long-term steroids, 10 milligram or higher for over 1 month, dialysis patients, cancer patients on treatment, or who have been on treatment less than 1 year ago, individuals who are obese, BMI or 40 more, individuals taking or recommended oxygen therapy at home by a doctor due to pulmonary disease, individuals with pulmonary diseases such as COPS, cystic fibrosis, bronchiectasis, or interstitial lung disease, individuals with liver diseases such as a liver cirrhosis, diabetes patients with organ damage, and individuals who are bedridden due to old age or disease. The booster shot is administered minimum 60 days after the administration of the second shot of a COVID-19 vaccine. A COVID booster shot is an additional dose of a vaccine given after a protection provided by the original shots has begun to decrease over time. Typically, you would get a booster after the immunity from the initial doses naturally starts to wane. The booster is designed to help people maintain their level of immunity for longer. The FDA has authorized 3 vaccine boosters, Pfizer-BioNTech, Moderna, and Johnson & Johnson, and determined that it is safe for individuals to receive a COVID-19 vaccine booster or booster shots are administered into hospital in the Greater Malaya region. They are in ADK Hospital at 9 a.m. to 2 p.m., Kulhumali Hospital at 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. Eligible individuals who wish to receive the booster shot can book an appointment via HPA portal. And that's my latest news from Maldives. Back to you, Alma.
Thank you very much, Steffi, and have a great weekend.
Thank you so much, Alma. And before I go, I would like to take this opportunity to greet our beloved brother Eduardo B. Manalo a happy birthday. And we wish you always a good health. Have a safe weekend, everyone. This is Stephanie Juan reporting live from Maldives. And we live in interesting times.
Going back to the Philippines, hundreds of families from poor villages around Mayon volcano in Albay province on the Philippines' most populous island of Luzon are waiting for new homes after Typhoon Goni pounded the region last November. Among them is food vendor Florivic Baldoza, who still lives in an evacuation center. As global warming brings increasingly extreme weather, she now fears nowhere is safe. Watch this.
Ito pong bagyong Role, ito na po yung pinakamatinding naranasan ko po sa aking buhay. Nung magsimula po nung nagkapamilya po ako, yan na po ang pinakamalakas na naranasan ko dito na hindi naman po namin nakakalain na ganun talaga sa dito yung tubig. Tapos yung mga batong napakalaki, mga nagliliparang mga yero. Ko, sir, kung para sa akin, sa sarili ko, sir, wala na. Wala nang, kumbaga parang wala nang safe. Kung para sa akin, wala na, sir. Kasi lahat ng pupuntahan naming lugar, may napapalibutan ng tubig. Isa pa, yung lilipatan naming lugar din doon. Kumbaga pag malakas din daw ang bagyo, tinutubig. Tapos siyempre, yung mga puno, pag iniisip ko lang, sir, yung kapakanan ng mga anak ko.
Because the typhoon is influenced by the climate change. So as I mentioned, we expect more frequency, more intense typhoon, as we can see in terms of the wind velocity, the amount of rainfall. So all of these influence the economic condition of Albay, again being an agricultural province.
Ko nito, pag once na lumipat kami dito, papablessingan ko tong bahay. Kasi para swerte, blessing.
ASEAN's circular economy. How can Southeast Asia grow sustainably? What needs to be done to incentivize business, big and small, to transition and commit to net zero? Here's a keynote address by His Excellency Matthias Corman, Secretary General, Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, or OECD. Let's listen in.
The OECD, we recently put forward a proposal to G20 member countries to help facilitate an ambitious but internationally more coherent, globally better coordinated approach to the pricing of carbon emissions. And as Indonesia takes on the G20 presidency, we very much look forward to engaging with Indonesia, is to help ensure more ambitious, cost-effective action on climate change can be pursued in a way that doesn't cause trade distortions or carbon leakage. And recent increases in climate commitments from Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand, the Philippines and others are of course very welcome. OECD research shows that a significant proportion of greenhouse gas emissions come from materials production, particularly in a region such as yours. So your leadership in this field is key. Second, the energy sector is critical to our net zero efforts. Southeast Asia will be the center of global energy demand in the decades to come. You have a remarkable opportunity to address the triple goals of addressing energy poverty, national regional energy security, and indeed sustainable development by investing in renewables and energy efficiency, and by providing targeted support for poor energy consumers rather than pursuing the continued use of fossil fuel subsidies. When it comes to the transition to net zero carbon emissions, we will need both public and private efforts. Third, we need policies and regulatory frameworks which incentivize green investment and innovation. Because beyond governments, businesses can and must contribute by setting their own net zero targets, transforming their value chain emissions, focusing on climate-friendly investments and supporting innovation. The greening supply chains will be a prerequisite for attracting quality foreign direct investment. Financial markets must be a part of the solution to climate change. It is important to advance efforts in the region to adopt sustainable finance practices, which will create a finance ecosystem that will provide adequate capital for the low-carbon transition. We need to encourage and support local businesses. ASEAN countries are attractive destinations for investment. If you continue to put in place transparent and predictable regulatory frameworks, you should be able to attract a significant amount of the growing flow of international finance going towards sustainable investment in developing countries. The key message here is continue to design clear, integrated regulatory frameworks that offer stability and certainty for international investors. Our forthcoming economic outlook for Southeast Asia, China, and India assesses various market-based options, such as social bonds and green bonds, highlighting the need to strengthen the region's market infrastructure and facilitating issuance by small firms.
Meanwhile, ASEAN's new framework for the circular economy for the ASEAN Economic Community provides a pathway for the region's transition to a low-carbon economy. Let's watch this.
Resource consumption globally has tripled since 1970 and could double again by 2050 if we continue business as usual. ASEAN's economic resilience is increasingly threatened by resource depletion, environmental degradation, unsustainable consumption, and climate change. Working towards a circular economy can help us address 45% of global greenhouse gas emissions, as well as offering a $4.5 trillion economic opportunity to the world. This has become an imperative for ASEAN, where consumption is growing rapidly. ASEAN needs to adopt an economic model that looks beyond the linear take, make, and dispose process, and make the transition towards a circular approach that is regenerative by design and makes effective use of materials and energy to retain their value. A circular economy thus increases competitiveness for ASEAN businesses, enhances innovation, and promotes green jobs, while reducing environmental pressures. Many businesses have already benefited from the circular approach, improving customer satisfaction, reducing resource and energy use, reducing costs of waste, enhancing brand and image, fostering longer customer relationships, and increasing sales. ASEAN's new framework for the circular economy for the ASEAN Economic Community provides a pathway for the region's transition to a circular economy based on 6 guiding principles. It sets out an ambitious long-term vision that builds on the strengths of existing ASEAN initiatives. The framework for the circular economy delivers inclusive social and sustainable economic growth while increasing resilience for the region. But its implementation is a whole-of-community effort and requires participation from everyone, the public and private sectors as well as the consumers. Visit ASEAN.org for more information.
And there you go. Thank you, Esther, for keeping me company today. But before we go, Esther, I would like to invite everyone who's watching us right now to please watch our worldwide Lingap sa Mamamayan special telecast on Net25 TV and INC TV. This will start at 10 in the morning till 8 in the evening on October 31st. That's on Sunday. We will be shown and broadcasted on all social media channels and platforms of Net25 and INC TV. Esther, do you have more?
Okay, so we are inviting everyone to watch and stay tuned from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. Philippine Standard Time on Net25 and INC TV, because we are going to have hourly updates from the different countries around the world with this activity, Aid to Humanity. We have special telecasts here, Net25 and INC TV on October 21, Sunday.
All right. And you know, Esther, this Aid to Humanity is being supported, as they all know, just a little bit of backgrounder, by INC's FYM Foundation. Aside from distributing goods for beneficiaries with immediate needs, the Aid to Humanity has conducted several and hundreds, thousands maybe, of medical missions around the world prior even to the pandemic. So we would like, again, everyone to watch us on October 31st, Sunday. And with that, we end today's program, and we would like to greet our brother, Eduardo Manalo, in advance. Happy birthday po.
Yes, Alma, and also watch out for the link of coverage of the bureau here in Thailand and all the bureaus in ASEAN region. And of course, we would like to take this opportunity to greet the Executive Minister of the Church of Christ, Brother Eduardo V. Manalo, advance happy birthday. Thank you for the love, and we wish you a long, long life. And that is the latest news here in the Southeast Asian nation. Thank you for joining us today in ASEAN in Focus. I'm Esther Odanga from EBC Thailand Bureau, and we live in interesting times.
And we'll see you back on Monday. I'm Alma Angeles. We live in interesting times.